Hey there, Marie Greene from Olive Knits here, and today's Rescue 911 knitting tip is how to fix a wonky cable. And so you can see right here, I have this cable and we've been establishing cables that are twisting to the left, and then suddenly we have a cable that twists to the right. And that is not how it's supposed to go. But if this happens to you, don't despair. Fixing cables is really simple to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to need a couple of double point needles because we're going to sort of pull this cable down and then re-knit it the way it belongs. And to do that, having a couple of wooden or bamboo needles will really make it simple to do. Now, you can absolutely use another needle from your bag, whatever you have, another circular, because really you just need the tips, but double points will make it nice and easy. So that's the simplest way to start. So to begin, I'm going to work my way up to the spot where I'm at this 4-stitch section of cable that I need to fix. And so I'm just going to knit and purl until I get to that spot, and I'll come right back when I do. All right, I've worked my way to the spot where I have my wonky cable. So what we're going to do is we are going to slide those 4 stitches off the needles. Don't be nervous. We are going to pick these back up again in a minute and put them back where they belong. Now, one thing that you'll want to keep track of is making sure that you know the spot where the cable needs to happen. So pay attention to how many rows that you need to go back and where that cable is worked so that we can rework the cable on the correct row. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of my double point needles here, and I'm just going to gently pull out each row that I've already worked. Now, each one of these strands that I'm pulling out represents a row, and you can tell I'm almost, but not quite to the cable. All right, so I've pulled out 3, and now I have the cable row. So this is the row where I'm going to fix the cable, and then I'm going to bring everything back up and sort of rework each row as if it had been done originally. All right, so I'm going to pull out my wonky cable. So now I have 4 stitches, and I want to make sure and grab these and get them on this double point needle. See how I'm going in through the back and making sure that they're not twisted. So now I've saved the 4 stitches, and now I just need to recreate that 2/2 cable going over to the left. And to do that, you can use either a cable needle or anything you like. There's lots of ways to do it, but for this, I'm actually going to do it without a cable needle and just show you this simple trick, because all we really need to do is take these 2 stitches here and cross them over the second 2 stitches. So I'm going to slide those onto my double point and then slide the other 2 onto my double point. Now, if you look, they're on my double point needle now, and they're already crossed for me. So now all I need to do is knit them. And to knit them, I'm actually going to use the very next strand next to it. So if you're looking here along the bottom, this is the closest strand, and then each of these represents a following row. So we want to make sure we're using the strand that's closest, and that's going to become our working yarn. All right, so to create this cable, I'm just going to knit these 4 stitches because I've already crossed them. And notice how I'm using my working yarn, or I'm using this strand as if it's my working yarn. And it can get a little confusing if you have several strands back there. So take it slow and just make sure that you've grabbed the right one. When you get down to the end, you're going to notice there's not much strand back there to work with. I've just got just this little bit right there. That's okay. All right, I'm just going to grab it with the tip of my needle and knit it through. All right, so let's see how we did. Got our cable. It's crossed the correct way. We've got all 4 stitches back in place. Now we just need to knit the next 3 rows, and we can do the same thing we did before where we're doing this right on these double point needles. And I've got to say, the wooden double point needles are a little easier for this, so they don't slide out. If you use metal needles, which I love metal needles, but if you use those for this technique, they can slide out and be kind of tricky. So now I'm just going to knit those 4 stitches using these same strands as my working yarn until I get caught back up to where I belong. All right, we're almost there. And one last stitch. There we go. All right, so we're getting there. We're making some progress. All right, we'll do it again now. And you just want to be sure that as you're working this process, you're trying to keep the slack fairly even. You'll notice my slack looks a little looser on the left side. That's okay. We can sort of even that out as we go. But maybe just knowing that, if you can kind of see where the slack is ending up, you can pull a little extra working yarn on the opposite side to help you even it out a little bit. All right, we are just working our way down and we're actually very close to finishing up. All right, there's the rest of that little strand. And again, I've got a little bit of extra slack on that left side, but I'll tell you what, once this is all complete, you won't even notice it. All right, last one. So we just have this one more strand to go. And we will be caught back up, which is great. Then we can go back to our regularly scheduled program here and knit with the regular needles and working yarn. All right, I've got that last little bit. I'm going to pull it through. All right, so now I have recovered that stitch, crossed, or that cable, crossed everything where it belongs. And now I'm going to slide these stitches back to the left needle. And we are back to where we started. We've fixed the cable down the way, and now we can continue in pattern without having to worry about that one wonky cable getting in our way. If you enjoyed this video and enjoy knitting tips and tricks, make sure you join me back here on YouTube for more Knitting Rescue 911. Make sure you like and follow so you'll be the first to know when new videos are added.